In the super-Earth military, the Helldivers are the first and last line of defense. They represent the peak of human tactical and strategic brilliance. They lay down their lives each and every day so that we may bask in the loving arms of liberty and freedom. These are their stories.
Dear Veronica, they say I'm an officer, but I don't really know what I'm supposed to be in charge of. I basically just put on the uniform, cap, and cape and use whatever guns and stratagems they give me. Some people get sidearms like pistols, shotguns, or even miniature flamethrowers. I got a sword.
Allied destroyer joining squadron, deploying Helldiver to combat zone.
As soon as I dropped into the mission, I could tell things were going to be ugly. Something seemed a little off, and being immediately under fire gets your blood pumping. The factory striders bearing down on us was a real treat. All I could do was run and try to stay alive. Veronica, you know I am a man of peace, but in war I live by a simple code, and that code is: when in doubt, when scared, when confused, when surprised, simply press up, right, down, down, down. There's nothing in this galaxy more comforting than throwing a 500 kilograms bomb at a problem and wishing away. Does it work every time? No, it doesn't. In fact, it seems to only work about half the time. Veronica, something strange happened when I was fighting that factory strider. 1 second, I was blasting it with my commando. The next, I awoke on top of it. And then I fell in the dirt. War is crazy like that, I guess. I blacked out again, Veronica. I don't know if it's all the blows to the head or what, but I do know that filthy, socialism-loving robot shot me good.
Calling down a support weapon!
When I woke up this time, I knew I had to get it together and lock it. These men looked to me for leadership, and so far all I was showing was failure. It takes an alpha to lead men into battle. That's what they told me in Super Boot Camp. And since I'm an alpha, I knew it was time for another 500K G-bomb.
Democracy delivered. The one withdrawing to rearm.
Southeast, 100 meters.
With the factory Strider convoy destroyed, I ordered our squad south. The men were grateful for my leadership.
Found something!
We came across some kind of hole or something. I ordered J1 to investigate while I called in another commando. These filthy clankers, before I could even regroup, another patrol brutally attacked us. I mag dumped them and drew my sword. Remember, switching to your pistol is always faster than reloading, or your sword in my case. Either way, I slaughtered them and moved on. J1 was dutifully attending the Watsit or doohickey thing, while B2 and J4 did other important jobs at my command.
Affirmative!
I moved around to give some cover and scope out our next objective, when suddenly it started raining bots. No big deal. I thought I could handle it. These are exactly the situations you need an alpha for after all. It's not like a tank would drop next, right?
Calling in orbital strike.
It's not like another tank would drop, right? I admitted, Veronica, I was a little flummoxed. A 500 kg would probably kill J4 or his precious turret. We have this ridiculous major order going on for rail cannon kills. I don't normally use the rail cannon because honestly the boom isn't big enough, but I was trying to please the brass this time around. We milled around for a little bit before I decided what we should do next. I needed a snack really bad, but sadly my crayons didn't survive the drop. I grabbed a new pack, but we didn't have time for me to open them, unfortunately. J4 recommended we exterminate the socialists to the east. I thought this was a fine idea and ordered the squad to move
Dropping a
out.
pin. Northwest, 300 meters.
Ultimately, I allowed J1 and B2 to do their own thing. An important part of being an officer is intimidating the enemy and inspiring your men. No letters of condolence for me today.
Request approved. Deploying reinforcements.
It's like I always say, Veronica, if you aren't throwing 500 kgs, are you really fighting? I know it's been said that robots don't feel emotions, but maybe they feel shell shock. I honestly think that the best time to storm an enemy position is immediately after an artillery barrage or an airstrike. Maybe their servo brains are rattled or something. It's almost comical how they call what the bots throw at us artillery. You'd think these guys would learn what a real artillery barrage looks like from all the 120 and 380 barges dropped on them. One of the other guys told me over chow that the best way to clear a bot base is to throw a walking barrage or 120 barrage into it.
Get some!
I can't stress it enough, Veronica. The 500 kg never gets old. I know we talked about marriage when I finished my tour, so I just want you to think about this, okay? As soon as your cousin says, I now pronounce you man and wife, we have a 500 kilograms bomb explode in the distance. We could have it be like 50 meters away. But if you want, we could probably move it closer to like 35. 30 might be pushing it. Ask me how I know that. At this point, my squad was off having a crayon break, so I figured I could take out this mortar encampment by myself.
Calling down fortifications!
As usual, a clanker gets a flare off. Another blow to the head, another blackout.
Reinforcement budget remaining. Automaton outpost destroyed.
It turns out my men were actually thinking pretty independently while I was
Point me to
passed
the
out
enemy.
and bleeding into the mud on an alien world.
Requesting advanced weaponry! Orbital inbound!
There was a bit of a lull in the fighting, and during Super Boot Camp, they told me that was a bad thing. Luckily, I saw
Enemy
a bot
patrol.
cannon
Northeast.
tower in the distance and decided to get its attention. As I confidently and expertly sniped the cannon tower with my commando, I watched a patrol sneak by. I knew that they were there, but they didn't know that I knew that. More of that independent thought, Veronica. By the time I'd caught up with them, they'd started pushing buttons on another thingamabob. With my guidance, J1 was able to figure it out. And while he did that, J4 took out an AA emplacement by himself. He's a regular John Helldiver, that one. I figured since J1 was so diligently being an egghead, I'd treat him to a little pomp and circumstance and show him some real alpha material. In officer training, they told us not to be friends with the men because it makes it harder to send them into the meat grinder. At first I thought it wouldn't be that hard to send H2, but he kind of started to grow on me.
Tagging map.
As H2 and I had our moment, J1 suggested we head east again. Somebody had called down more crayons, but I still hadn't had a chance to eat my last pack. Sometimes, that's just the way she goes.
Requesting air support.
J4 led us to some kind of secondary objective, probably a LiDAR station. I saw a hint of enemy resistance and couldn't let that
Requesting air
stand.
support.
As an officer, I have to set firm rules and uphold regulations. The rules of engagement are clear. If an enemy is alive, make it dead. I knew J1 appreciated the help. A soldier can be a complex creature. They told me this in officer training. Sometimes it can help the mission to give them some leeway and just kind of make sure things don't fall apart. So I decided to trail behind a little and oversee from the back. It would hurt the mission if I was killed, so I appreciated J1 taking point. Veronica, I don't think I've told you about the most devastating bot weapon yet. Mines. They put them everywhere, and without fail, every mission, somebody steps on one. 1 second they're there, and the next second they're falling around you in pieces. It's a testament to the bot's lack of creativity in war. You might ask, but honey, don't Helldivers use mines? And I would have to say, yes. But when they do, we ask them politely yet firmly to leave.
Marking location. Northeast. Orbital incoming.
Some soldiers might say something stupid, like discretion is the better part of valor. But not me. I learned my lessons in officer training and super boot camp. It really wasn't that bad, to be honest. We got to practice guns and throwing stratagems. Sometimes there was paperwork, but if you finished it on time, they let you eat the crayon. When I was just a cadet, my favorite flavor was green. My palate has really matured though, since I've been deployed to bot front. In a basic pack, I like red for obvious reasons. But if you get a pack with more colors, you're living the high life. Once, while we were liberating a megacity, I found a pack with razzmatazz. It was heavenly. The way the wax melted in your mouth. And the taste. It had a fruity complexion, but with a hint of cherry. Honestly, it was kind of like a sweet berry wine. If I ever find a razzmatazz again, I'll bring part of it home for you. I promise.
Requesting air support. Reloading.
Sometimes it's a good idea to make sure a bot, bug, or squid is really dead. And if you see a tank, why not shoot it? Commandos cool down so quickly that you can just spray them willy-nilly. It's part of the reason I like them so much. The cannon towers, the bots, have our pretty decent shots. I almost got my head taken off by one, but luckily the boys had my back. Some men say that the concussive force of heavy munitions and the devastation they bring are part of the horror of war. I was going to contemplate this, but then my drill instructor made me do push-ups. I think he might have saved me from thinking something really depressing. I talked to a truth enforcer afterwards, and he explained to me that while yes, explosions can sometimes be scary, it's best to think about the pretty flashing lights and big booms they make. Now, since we've had our talk, I try to always make sure I give some pomp and circumstance whenever there's a barrage going on. I do this for a couple of reasons.
Requesting air support.
Mainly, if I'm being honest, I really do like watching the pretty lights. But also it's important for an alpha to set a good example for his men. When they see me respecting the democratic use of our Liberty bombs, they are inspired to fight harder and push forward. I know this works because J1 and H2 keep marking locations. It helps the men take the initiative and not just wait for orders like clankers. And that's the difference between us and them, Veronica. We are people and they are robots.
Freedom forever!
I came across a lone bot and he was dodging and avoiding my every shot. I drew my sword and charged him, cutting him down. I knew J1 and J4 were in the distance and needed help. But these mines were in my way. A good officer knows when to go around though. H2 knew I was frustrated by the mines and took out some anger on one on my behalf. He even gave me a crayon. He's a good kid, that H2. J1 and J4 were probably fine. The little scamp talked me into a game of rock, paper, scissors. Typically, they'd probably demote me for this kind of tomfoolery. But these are precious moments in the life of a Helldiver. You have to live every moment to the fullest, Veronica. All good things must come to an end, however, and our brief crayon respite was over. We started hightailing it to J1 and J4 because the dropships would not stop coming. It was like all of Cyberstan was being unloaded on top of those two. I guess this is what happens when you let your men think independently. I was so focused on getting to my men and charging in valiantly that I didn't see the stratagem beam until much, much too late. It happened in an instant, and there was just no avoiding it. But if I had to lay blame somewhere, it would be squarely on H2. He should have known I'd be running up that hill. But as it stands, I blacked out again.
Support weapon.
And I awoke surrounded by enemies. There was only one solution, and it was a 500K G-bomb, also a precision strike. All the Democratic munitions must have thrown up enough soil for J1 to scan it or something, because I was informed that our mission had been completed. There was some discussion about what to do next. The Jays seemed to want to go the extra mile, which is always great. As an officer, it's good when your men want to go above and beyond, and I didn't want to discourage this behavior. One of them had marked an SEAF artillery emplacement, so I allowed us to go check it out. I thought I'd found a chance to run up and hit more robots with my sword, but one of my men killed them. Maybe next time. I spotted another cannon tower trying not to be noticed, so I gave it a lesson in freedom.
Warning, you are in range of enemy artillery.
There are few things more annoying in a Helldiver's life than seeing an enemy signal raised. Squids have their beams, bugs have their gas, bots have their flares. All are infuriating, but they do give you more opportunities to use ordnance.
Requesting orbital strike! Calling in orbital strike!
You never really know when the tide will turn in a battle. As an officer, I'm supposed to be able to predict when it happens. I usually kind of gauge it like this. Am I wounded? Is my 500 kilograms bomb on cooldown? Is there a tank? If the answer to any of these questions is yes, then things may have turned, and it's time to start thinking about running away. Normally, when I run out of ammo, I charge in with my sword. But at this moment, I am not ashamed to say that I panicked. When I panic, I throw every grenade that I have and pray for deliverance.
Calling down a support weapon!
The shuttle was on its way, but my squad was scattered. Independent thinkers can present some unique challenges for Helldiver officers. I hate to admit it, Veronica, but I wasn't thinking like an alpha at this point. My encounter with the tanks had left me rattled, and as a great man once said, fear is the mind killer. And boy howdy was my mind killed. I was indecisive and kept second-guessing myself. I knew my weapon. The reprimand required a kneeling stance and firm grip to handle the recoil. I was so flustered that my weak little wrists just couldn't handle the recoil. They'll probably send me to the wall for coming apart like this in battle, but you never know. Maybe they'll take my record for the rest of the mission into consideration. On the bright side though, I don't think the rest of my squad saw this pathetic display. I was scared, Veronica. I was so scared.
Never die!
I didn't know if J4 was going to make it back to us. Losses are acceptable as long as the mission is completed, but I wasn't going to just leave him behind. I knew I had to go back for him even if I only had my sword. And then I blacked out.
I'm sorry.
ETA T-minus 1 minute, 30 seconds.
Eat that! Joining the fray.
Things were kind of a blur for a bit.
Reinforcing. Ready to liberate.
I'm not sure what happened, but I came to at the evac station. I assume one of my brave men dragged my body out of the fires of hell and to the evac zone. I am so proud of these men, Veronica.
Requesting air
testimonial.
support.
In times like this, you just have to keep firing,
Throwing grenade.
keep throwing stratagems,
Mag's empty.
and keep lobbing
New mag.
grenades. If there isn't a target immediately to shoot, just shoot into the smoke or fire. Something will try to walk through, and when it does, it'll get a heaping dose of full metal jacket munitions to the face.
T-minus 10 seconds.
They were coming at us hard. They knew we'd completed our objectives and were about to escape, and they couldn't stand it. They hated our freedom, Veronica, our liberty, and they were doing everything their little microchip brains could think of to stop us. I felt numb. Sometimes Veronica, a Helldiver squad, feels a bond, a kinship to one another. It doesn't always happen, but when it does, they become more powerful than any alien monstrosity could ever dream of being. This squad achieved that kinship, and I'm sorry to tell you that as a civilian, this is something you will never feel. I don't mean this to be harsh, it's just a fact of life. When you've ordered another man into the jaws of hell and pulled him back out kicking and screaming, only to look into his baby blues and play rock, paper, scissors with him. Veronica, there's just nothing in this life like it. We completed every primary and secondary mission objective, and we all made it out alive. I received a promotion for my outstanding patriotism, and we were all awarded 10 medals.
Thank you for watching this episode of Letters from Helldivers. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe, because there will always be more letters from our brave men and women fighting for Super Earth and
Allied
democracy.
destroyer